This is the Ariel Rider N-Class electric cruiser bike, and I'm with one of the co-founders here, Arda Onal. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for bringing these. You know, it's been cool checking them out. Reviewed the W class over there. It's kind of like middle of the line. This is your top of the line offering, at least in terms of price. We're looking at like the premium version right here. Yeah. And then you have one that's a little bit lower, right?
Yeah, there are like two levels. This is the premium one, and we have the comfort one. So like, however you like, we wanted to give options to people, you know?
Yeah, and that one's like $28.99 versus $30.99.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, for that extra money, you get this interesting Springer suspension fork, and you were telling me on the other bike that this is custom. This is something you guys put together and that you designed to work with the disc brakes in the front.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it matches everything here, like all of the, I guess the frame tubing, the motor, the handlebars, all that stuff, the fork, that's all black and kind of like a matte finish that you've gone with.
I mean, the touch of the feel of it is much better, so we wanted to give that like premium feeling for it.
Yeah, and same with, again, the W class. Yeah. Both of these come in a few different colors. So we're looking at red right here, but you can also do black or, again, that kind of like light yellow, kind of a tan color. That
beige.
The beige is what they call it. Yeah. I mean, it's fun to talk about this stuff, and just, you know, you're an international company, okay, right? And so we were talking about, you speak all these languages and you travel all over the place. So I'm sharing my American like color preferences over here. Yeah, I like it. It's actually really neat to see what you've carried over from Europe, including the integrated lights. It sounds like that's a big deal in terms of safety. Well, I know it's a big deal, especially in, you're riding around cars and stuff. I feel like this is kind of a neighborhood, like a fun cruiser bike, but it's definitely one of the more capable ones, not just because it has a large battery pack, but also because it's more powerful. You can potentially go faster.
Yeah, you can go really fast. Like the whole goal of this one is like, we're going for the post-World War II era. Mm-hmm. So the industrial, like, the feeling and everything. So we wanted to like give that feeling in this one, especially because it's our like flagship model, Well,
and okay, on that note, so let's look at this thing. We look from the top, you can see this kind of resembles a gas tank.
It does.
A little bit, right?
That's the look we've gone for.
The look you've gone for, yeah, and I think it's nice. It conceals the battery. I've seen this sort of like approach with like the Saunders bike where they have a big plastic box, but it's not nearly as beautiful as this one. Of course, you've got your Ariel Rider logo, which I really like. It's kind of cool. It's the like Harley kind of thing, or it reminds me of almost like an Aston Martin or something. You got, and on your shirt right here too. So that's cool to see. But if you don't want that, you offer this like custom paint job type thing or decals. Tell me about this.
The reason why we were doing is like we wanted to give people an option to customize the bike, because getting a customized bike right now starts from a couple of grand.
Yeah.
So like for a basic couple of $100, you can actually send us a design that you want, and if we can easily get it painted on the cover and send it back to you within 5 days.
I love that. And speaking of sending it back to you and stuff, you have a warranty. It's pretty solid. It's like a year for the battery, a couple years for like all the components and stuff, and 5 years on the frame. And you sell these through shops. So this is something you got to go in, you can test ride it, and there's like the warranty through the shop.
Exactly. Like we don't want to sell through online. Like essentially through online is much more easier for us, but at the end of the day, these are mechanical devices. They're going to need servicing, so you have to, but I feel like you have to buy it from a shop, so that you would have a like neighborhood shop that you always go through, who adjusts stuff like every now and then.
How long have you been in business as a company?
6 years.
6 years. But is this the first year you're coming to America?
It is. Yeah, it is. It is the first year that we're actually.
You've been working on it for a while, I sense, right? But this is like your official first year, 2016.
Exactly, because like we opened the warehouse here in LA, and like we're trying to give the best after-sales service and like best shipment options and everything, so that like people would like trust the product, because the main thing, especially in America, is like they do not want to deal with international shipping for the parts and everything. So now we have the warehouse here, and like we have employees here.
What shops do you carry? Like, can you call a few of them out?
Yeah, I can call a few of them. For example, Beverly Hills Bike Shop carries us. A couple of shops up in Oregon carries us, both in Eugene and Portland. And here in Huntington Beach, we do have fresh electric bicycles.
Sweet, fresh.
Yeah. And we have a couple of more here in California, actually.
Yeah, I'm building it out. Okay, well, yeah, if you're in the rest of the country, how do you get one if you're like in the middle, someone's in Colorado?
I mean, you can always order it from us or from the shop. We can always ship it.
We do some shipping and stuff.
Yeah, but like for now, we are mainly in California. Like even in San Francisco, we are at the Electric Bicycle warehouse. So yeah, we sell all around.
Okay, well, anyway, back to these decals. It sounds like it's a few $100 to have this printed. I like the Snoop Dogg. We got some Star Wars, and these are just samples. And you were showing me earlier. You were talking about you put a lot of energy into making them tough and durable because it's a bike. It could be outside. It could potentially get scratched or something. These were your original prototypes, and you said it was a little brittle, and you can see the plastic is just white with paint on it versus the final product where it's actually colored composite. And you were saying it's really tough, it's really scratch resistant.
It is completely scratch resistant because like bicycles are going to tip over. They may tip over, so we have to provide anything that can happen to it. And these are actually from a German company called BASF, which is the world's largest chemical company. So these are the same plastics they use in the inner panels of the airplane. So it is very difficult to break it.
That is cool. That's very cool. One of the trade-offs when you go with something so custom is the battery on this one isn't really removable. Like you'd have to take all the hardware out. You leave it in, right? But you leave the battery in.
Exactly.
We were talking about how the case is designed, and I was like, oh, this rubber thing. And you're saying it's really well sealed against water, and that your controller is like IP65 or what?
Yeah, IP56.
56.
Yeah, so it is like completely dust and waterproof. I mean, of course, you cannot swim with it.
Yeah, don't drive this into the ocean or anything, California people. But yeah, okay, just so calling that out. Also, I wrote it and I was concerned that like my legs were gonna knock, my knees would be knocking on this case cover, but they worked pretty well, and I'll show that later during the ride test. It stayed mostly out of the way, and it is tapered, so it's much fatter at the head and it's narrower at the back. I'm gonna have all the specs for this, including standover height, reach, all that stuff back at the site, so you can check that out and compare. But again, this matches the fenders, matches the plastic chain guard, and I love that you have the integrated lights. We were talking about safety, so they run off the main battery pack, and there's like a level of attention to detail and kind of craftsmanship in the way that you've executed on this. It's not just, we have a light, there's a wire. It's like if you come down here, there's a plastic tube with the wire inside of it, so that it's going to protect it a little more from water, potentially bumps, or it just makes it a little bit tougher, right?
Yeah, it does. Like we wanted to provide something that would require minimum servicing, that's why we went for all these hardships, let's say.
What are and then the other thing, we were talking about the custom fork. There was not a whole lot of travel when I was trying it out. It seems mostly aesthetic, but it does, it's functional. They've got the biggest comfort, I guess, upgrade for me was that sprung saddle. And you were saying that you actually get like real leather from Australia.
Yeah, we do.
And you have it shipped.
Exactly.
And you make these yourself. So this is awesome. Like, yes, it has springs, so it's a little bit more of a bouncy feel, but it's much more comfortable than just like a hard saddle, like a race type of saddle. 27.2 on the seat post in case you for some reason did want a suspension seat post. I don't think you need it. And then we've got these little loops so you can add a saddle bag on the back. So I think I've seen like Brooks has a little like carrier.
And also we do have it. Like
you have one too.
Yeah,
okay.
which you can like those kind of accessories. You can actually purchase it online. So we have all sorts of accessories for all of our bikes.
Is there anything big enough for the charger? I mean, this is relatively small. It was only a pound when I was laying it earlier.
I know you can actually fit it into our saddlebag. It fits perfect. Yeah.
Okay. We were talking about just all the little extras that you did, because this is very custom, even the frame and everything on this one. And I guess, on the W class, very custom too. You just used a more standard battery pack and with kind of the blockier control box. Tell me what else, you're really proud of with this bike and that's special.
It is, first of all, like this kind of tank is what we started with. Our first Ariel Rider was like this kind of tank, but it was aluminum. So in time, like this is
this lighter?
Yeah, and also aluminum. If like anyone hits at it, it bends and you cannot actually fix it very easily.
Yeah.
So this is actually third generation of our like this kind of cruiser. And one thing I'm really, really proud about is, inside of this is actually like a car engine. So everything is fixed inside. So actually when you're riding, there's absolutely no rattling on the frame.
Ah, so that was something I noticed. Yeah, like the plastic fenders and stuff. You know, you hear plastic and you're like, oh, cheap, but no, actually they're more resilient.
Yeah, they
right?
are,
So if you hit something or you bump it, like it kind of springs back into place. You've got the struts that support it, the mud flaps, so you get better coverage. And these bikes are both pretty long, so it's more of a, I think that one's like 80 inches, this one's slightly shorter, but despite it being long, you've got an angled stem, so you can bring the handlebars up and back. It only comes in one size, and I measured it's like 20 inches on that seat tube, but slightly larger, like by 1 inch, swept back handlebars than on the W. Yeah. So this is, you know, if you're a larger person, this might be a good choice. Same specs as the W. We've got a 500 watt internally geared Dopu motor in the rear. Dopu is used by Easy Motion, Pedigo, and it's more powerful and zippy than 8Fun in my experience, which is cool. That's a nice little upgrade. And then the battery pack that's in there, it's 48 volts, 11.6 amp hours. And you were estimating like 25 to 45 maybe miles?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on like how much you use the throttle and like how much you weigh and like the conditions of the road.
But it's nice that you have a throttle. Like a lot of electric bikes, it's all about pedal assist. I noticed that you have a 12 magnet cadence sensor, so it's going to be a little bit more responsive if you do choose to pedal. And if you're pedaling, or even, you know, if you're just setting your feet down, I like that you chose the Wellgo branded extra large platform pedals. Not only do they match, but they're stiff and they're sturdy.
Exactly.
For supporting you. It's not like little track pedals or something that you're gonna slip off of. And with the fenders, so it's like in the rain or something, it's gonna do all right.
Yeah, I mean, people here in California, they hardly have any, rain. But in Europe, you do have a lot of rain, and people actually use these bikes to commute. So we have to put like full-size fenders.
I like that. Yeah, it's a good setup, and it felt pretty comfortable. So despite the length and stuff, the reason I was calling that out is because sometimes when you're pedaling and you turn, you can clip your toes, but that wasn't so much the case here because it's a little bit of a longer build. I love the tires that you went with. They've got the reflective sidewall, so I'm all about safety, and that way you have a larger visual footprint. You got the lights, and when you pull the brake levers, they have motor inhibitors, so regardless of the pedal assist cadence sensor thing, it's just going to kill motor power immediately, and it activates the light back here. I might want to show that. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so first step, we got to turn the battery on. You click the key in, turn it to the right. It has to stay in. I complained about this on your other bike too. And it can jingle around, and if you have a keychain, those are there and stuff, but you don't forget it. It's right there, and it's mostly out of the way. Like no one's pedaling up that far. It's way up front, and kind of like mounted where a gas tank would be.
Yeah, I mean, you're not that tall. No one is that tall.
No one's that tall. Yeah, well, Shaquille O'Neal gets on this bike. We'll see.
Maybe, perhaps.
But I see what you're saying. It's like, okay, so the keys are up there. It's activated. You hold the power button for a couple seconds on the display. Great readouts like speed, assist level, 0 through 6, and you can override pedal assist at any time with the throttle. So to me, that's really compelling. It's sort of like empowers you to be like, I'm going to pedal, I'm going to get some exercise. But then if you see someone cute who's just up the road, you can zip up, or maybe you need to pass someone, or just like speed through the light real quick before it changes. You totally can, because you've got that twist throttle at your disposal. I like that. I mean, it's a different style of riding. It's in mountain bike or something where it's like immediate, like start, stop, but it's powerful. And that's, I don't know, it's for someone who's just maybe not riding bikes at all. And, it's like gives them a way to get around and enjoy themselves. And I love that. I think it's really compelling. So we were talking about the brake levers. Let's do it. Light it up. Oh, I love that. And this is a Spanninga light, that and the front. So they're both pretty nice. You've got the cable wraps and stuff, keeping it clean, routed through the frame. Wouldn't expect anything less. What were the brand of these tires?
These are CSE Maxes.
CSE Maxes, okay, and they are 26 by 2.35.
Yeah.
So this is like the balloon tire standard, and they have a lower PSI rating, so there's a range, right, that tires offer, and again, back at the site, but you can lower the tire pressure and create a little bit more comfort with these, and they seem kind of tough. And that's, I guess, important if you have a lot of weight and you're at lower PSI. You don't want to get pinch flats or, run over thorns or anything like that. I think we've talked about, is there anything else that you wanted to call out or something special about this bike?
I mean, this one is like more about how it feels, like it is not necessarily for like, I don't know, it is something that motorcycle users actually love because of the tank and everything.
Yeah.
And also like the fact that you can actually adjust the speed limits is like very appealing to
That's
people.
The thing. Oh, we didn't talk about that yet with this one. Okay, so it comes default with 20 miles per hour. That's standard class 2 pedal. It has pedal assist, but it's class 2 because it has a throttle in the United States. Then if you want, maybe you're someone who's just starting out and you're like, oh, I don't want to go too fast and get out of control or anything like that. It is a heavier bike. This is actually surprising me. It's like 20 or 62 and a half pounds.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas the W class is 62. I mean, there's only half a pound difference, but this one looks so much bigger.
Yeah, because of the plastic part. You know, like we wanted to like make everything lighter. It looks very heavy, but like that's how we achieved it with the plastics.
Well, I like it. And then there's the kind of a tube right here, so it felt very stiff. Like this wasn't a flexi bike.
Yeah, no, it's not. No,
yeah, and a lot of times when you get something that's longer and stuff, you feel a little bit more frame flex. This one feels very solid, which I like. And relatively good weight distribution. There's the hub motor, obviously. No quick release in the rear because, you know, it's wired in and stuff. A little bit more complex if you have to change a flat. But there is quick release at the front. So despite not being able to remove that battery, you can take off the front wheel, lighten it a little bit, make it more compact. A lot of times when I'm transporting in a car, you take the wheel off, turn the bar sideways, and then it fits in a little bit better. You drove here today in a minivan, and they both fit without taking them apart.
Both of them, yeah.
And if you have a truck or something like that. So just giving you some feedback in terms of weight and moving this thing if you get it. But yeah, the battery weight is front, not as low as if it was like a down tube kind of thing, but it balances the whole bike out, and it feels pretty good to me. I can't wait to check out your city bike as well, because that one has kind of these racks and stuff that are integrated.
Yeah, we do have like that one we're going to launch in US in a few months, but for now it is only available in Europe.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I think we've covered all the stuff. I've talked about some pros and cons and stuff, but generally speaking, it's a cruiser. You get the throttle power, you get a powerful motor, pretty good battery pack, and decent warranty. I think that's the gist of it. Let's just hop on this thing now and go to it. By the way, to activate the headlight and stuff, you hold down on the plus button for a couple seconds, and that's what lights it up, and it lights up the backlighting in the display. If you double tap the power button, you get into the settings. You can change like the wheel size, the top speed, and all that. And then you need the password. How does that work if someone wants to? They just contact the company?
Yeah, they just contact us, and especially like it's not only wanting to go faster. You know, you might want to go slower. There are older people and younger
or young people,
yeah. So you don't want them to go too fast. So.
Okay. That means it's time to go. Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna just twist the throttle. I'm in assist level 1, but the throttle goes full power, so this is gonna give you some idea. Woo! Nice, keeping me dry. Feeling pretty good. I'm relatively like upright right now too. There's that spring action going on. You know, one of the things I called out earlier but wanted to demonstrate was like the responsiveness of pedal assist, because it's not, it starts pretty fast but then it delays, and I think they did that on purpose, where it's just a little smoother, so if you're pedaling and you kind of stop for a minute, the motor keeps going more like a throttle. In fact, it's going right now. Yeah, you can always kill that with the brake levers. So pedaling. So it's just more delayed in that cutoff. Kind of keep that in mind when you're riding, so you don't get, you know, spooked like, oh, the motor. It's just pull those brake levers and it'll kill it. Again, here's from the top down, just sort of my legs. So there's just enough clearance that they aren't really touching, but it is wider, right? And I think a lot of people, I was talking to Arda about the customers, and he's like, you know, a lot of people get this bike and they just use the throttle, and you're like cruising around town, and it's quiet, it's efficient, cheap to charge, don't have to have a license or insurance. Those are some of the pros of e-bikes that I'm always calling out. And so with this thing, you totally get that, and you can sit back and you can twist that throttle, and then your legs aren't moving. So it might even be kind of comfortable to hug that gas tank looking thing. Hey, buddy. Thank you so much for spending time and giving me the backstory on this thing. Yeah, that's the Ariel Rider N-Class, sort of the top of the line. For the full write-up on this and some of their other models and stuff, maybe you have one of these. You're in Europe. The specs are a little different. It's like a 250 watt motor there for legal reasons and stuff. Chime in, share your feedback. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, of course, ride safe.